Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, Pixie Dust and Pavement, where I'm presenting the second installment in my video Castle to Castle vlog series. If you're new here, I'm Sarah and I'm training for the ultimate Run Disney adventure, the Coast to Coast Challenge, consisting of the Dopey Challenge at Walt Disney World in Orlando, followed by the Dumbo Double Dare in Disneyland in Anaheim. That's a total of 71 magical miles between two coasts, not to mention all those training runs I'll be logging. And I'm bringing you along for every step of the way. This week, I'm talking about something every runner planning a Run Disney Racecation needs, a training plan that actually works for your race weekend needs. Run Disney events aren't just about race day. They're about early mornings, multiple race days in a row, and lots of park time on your feet, at least if you're like me. So I built my plan with that in mind. So on this episode, I'm going to be sharing my training plan because training for back-to-back races isn't just about the miles. It's about planning the whole experience so race weekends go smoothly. A lot of you are not new to Run Disney. Some of you may be. For those of you that don't already know, Jeff Galloway is associated with Run Disney, and he has created training plans that can be found on the Run Disney website under the training link you see right here. These are broken down into various distances, 10K, challenges, half, whole, so on. And they also have a split between beginners and more advanced runners. Now, while I like a lot about this program, there are aspects that I don't necessarily think benefit me. And so I've changed them a bit. So I follow most of the Galloway plan, but make a few tweaks here and there so that it's both sustainable and provides me the training my body needs to survive all of those miles. For example, I've changed the long runs. For doing Dopey, he has a couple of instances, at least one I know, where you're doing at least 26 or more than the race on one of your long days. And for me, I've just found I don't need to do longer than 20, 22 when I'm training leading up to it. I kind of like that challenge of the last few miles to be doing something I haven't recently done. For others, it is very beneficial to say, hey, 6 weeks ago or whatever it is, I did over 26 miles and I felt good. I know I can do this. So it's really about what is best for you. So that's my first important tip this week is creating a plan and making it your own. Because if your plan isn't sustainable for you, you're not going to stick with it. I know I don't. When I've tried to do this and stick directly to the Galloway plan and I'm going to run on Tuesday and Thursday and Saturday, I find out that I don't actually train enough and I end up disappointed in my race performance, or the race itself is just so much harder than it needs to be. In addition, it is harder on your body just to not be properly trained. I'm a member of a lot of various Run Disney and Disney Run related social media accounts. And I hear a lot of people talking about how they just really weren't prepared. They weren't able to train. There was injury. Even I didn't train at all and I'm just going to walk and be fine. Now, understand, I am not saying there is anything wrong with walking some or all of these races. But you have to understand that when you're doing that many miles, even walking, you're still running the risk of injury. So you need to be prepared. Your body needs to be able to walk 26 miles the day after walking, 13 miles the day after walking, so on and so forth. So here's how I structure my plan. I do a combination of short runs, long runs, some back-to-back running days, cross-day training, and rest days. With the short runs, I typically follow the Galloway structure where I'm completing 2 shorter runs every week. Typically with either a rest day or a cross-training day in between. I try to keep those at about 30 to 45 minutes. Sometimes I'll go as much as an hour, but I try to keep a slower pace if I'm going for the full hour. I sprinkle into those days some hill workouts, interval trainings where I'm going between race pace, harder than race pace, speed bursts, and some slower than race pace, and just kind of doing intervals, rotating through. The long runs, I just keep my long runs steady and slowly build endurance. Since the Dopey Challenge stacks a 5K, 10K, half marathon, and full marathon over 4 mornings in a row, endurance is key. Most of the plans out there that I've seen put the long days on the weekends, but my work schedule does not allow me to do this. So I shift them to another day of the week. Otherwise, I'm not going to do them. If I stick to, I have to do this long run on Saturday, that's what the training thing says, then I'll end up skipping them because I am burnt out from work. That doesn't benefit anyone. And ultimately, there's going to be no difference in my training if I am, say, doing those long runs on a Tuesday. I'm doing them, and that's what matters. So it's important to keep your long runs on a day of the week that makes most sense for your schedule. Also, it's important to increase your distance each week. The long run needs to get longer each time. You need to build up to where you can do those long races. But I do not go more than a 10% increase every week in my distance, which helps me prevent injury while still slowly and steadily improving performance. I do suggest if you're brand new to running, 5% is totally fine. That'll help keep you increasing, getting better, getting stronger without taxing your body too much while you're adjusting. This also applies to people that are, rehabbing from injuries. Remember though, talk to your doctor if you're doing any kind of training after injury. You don't want to exacerbate a problem that you already have, make it worse. Running may not be the right thing, or sticking at no increase for a while. It's, completely based on each individual person and their needs and what's going on with that injury. But that to say, 5 to 10% increase every week is solid. You don't have to, just really prove to yourself that you can do a whole bunch more. Like I did 5 this week and I need to do 10 next week. That's a lot. So a slow and steady is going to really, really help you. Like I mentioned, I'll do a few back-to-back days. I don't do this every week. I try to do it at least once a month where I'm doing multiple runs. Early on, I'll do 2 back-to-back. Like I'll do a short run on a Monday and my long run on a Tuesday, which mimics the challenge of those multiple race mornings. As I get closer to the actual event, I will be putting in 3 and then eventually 4, trying to build up to what I need so that my body is ready to do, 4 races in a row over 4 mornings. It's not completely shocked by that. It's important that your legs get used to running on tired muscles, which is, an important aspect of races like Dopey and Dumbo. Next, cross training. I always include stretching, mobility workouts at least twice a week. Because staying injury-free is as important as logging miles to me. I say twice a week, or at least twice a week, because I weave a lot of yoga into my short running days. I think a really nice stretching session is invaluable for my recovery improvement. Strength training, try to do at least 1 strength training session a week. For me, it takes the form of aerial gymnastics, which is an incredible upper body workout. You got your core, your arms, all of that, really strengthens things and kind of has helped me honestly improve my mileage time over the time that I've been doing it, which has been a little over a year. As my core gets stronger, my running has increased. My running abilities have increased. I also try to go, there's an infrared hot yoga studio here, HotWorks, which, as I said, it's built into the title there. It's infrared. You're in a sauna. It's hot. You're sweating. It feels amazing. This is not an advertisement for HotWorks. They are a chain, so they're in multiple cities across the United States. But I just feel so amazing when I walk out of those studios. Somehow it's very, very invigorating to me. So if you have those around, it's worth at least doing a little, they have free sessions so you can see if those kind of things work for you. And then I cannot stress the importance of rest and recovery days. I set aside at least one day, full day, every week where I am not working out, I'm not running, I'm not strength training. Sometimes I'll throw in a little, light stretching, light yoga. But other than that, letting my body, letting my muscles recover, which makes you stronger in the long run. And that is so important. And lastly, of course, for me, I try to sprinkle in a little Disney magic along the way. For me, it's wearing some Disney gear during my race training, maybe adding a fun Disney song into my playlist, whatever it takes to keep me motivated and thinking about the actual fun event that I have headed up, not just this tough run that I'm going through. I know this sounds like a lot, but that's the beauty of training for Run Disney. It's not about chasing a PR. It's about creating these magical memories. And while some people do go for the PR in Run Disney races, it's such a flat course. Actually, both locations are relatively flat. So some people really do go out to PR, and that's great. When you're doing that, though, you are missing out on all the magic that's sprinkled through the races, whether that be, riding a ride during the marathon or stopping to get a photo with a character that is beloved that you're not going to see in the parks. It's important to let yourself do that and just experience some of that joy. Create those memories. I personally want to finish strong and have the energy to enjoy the parks afterwards. So I do invest a lot into this training. And I want to enjoy the actual race. Travel agent tip here. Since I'm also a travel planner who specializes in Disney, here's a tip that can make your Run Disney weekend way less stressful. And it's all about where you book your resort. There is a difference between where you should book, whether you're in Disney World or Disneyland, on property versus off property. If you're booking at Disney World, staying on site, on property at a Disney resort gives you access to the free race transportation, which means you don't have to worry about driving and parking at 3 a.m. on race mornings. Minimizing stress, so important. Unlike Disneyland, Disney World is so spread out. There are miles between each park and where these resorts are. So you can't just, walk to the race start from your resort in most cases. You need to be able to get there, and getting there stress-free is really important. So staying in a Walt Disney resort means that complimentary race transportation is included. You just hop on a bus and they take you right there. If you're staying at a resort on the monorail system, there are certain days where you can take the monorail to the races. These resorts are the Polynesian, Grand Floridian, and the Contemporary Resort. And while I can't guarantee that the monorail will be running for every Run Disney event going forward, I know there are races they have in the past. I know that they have for marathons, I believe half marathons. Some of the shorter ones they may not be running. I will look into that, and I can update you in the future to see what has been common practice in the last couple of Disney World races. But I know when it has worked, you just hop on the monorail right from your hotel, and it takes you to the TTC, which is the Transportation and Ticket Center. You'll hear that thrown around if you're on a monorail resort, which you then would just connect to Epcot, where races traditionally begin. You'll just want to check the schedules. Every resort has this big schedule posted in the lobby, which is going to specify all the information you need for your particular resort. When the transportation starts each morning, where to catch it, how, so on. And additionally, a lot of that information will be on the Run Disney website as we get closer to race weekend. So you've got a couple options for how to get the information that you're looking for. Okay, so for Disneyland, I usually suggest staying off property. There are so many hotels that are just surrounding the resorts, and the starting line traditionally, at least in the last few years since it came back after COVID, have been just right off of property in a parking lot of a hotel that's across the street from from the park entry. Not going to guarantee that it's going to start at the same parking lot in January or in races in the future. But it's usually a good bet if they have a good spot and there's no new construction or some reason why they can't, that they will continue to start them in this location. And you can find those by looking at old Run Disney race course maps, and it'll show you there's a parking lot just down the street where, that's where everyone meets to get starts, and that's where your race corrals are. And Disney has tons of what are called good neighbor hotels. So you can get packages just like you would Walt Disney World staying at a resort, where you can get your stay and your tickets. And some of those are literally right across the street from the parks. And as I said, historically, the race starts are much closer if you're at a good neighbor hotel. They have good neighbor hotels that are further away a bit, but a ton that are half a mile across the street, even a mile. So it's really important that you be able to easily get to the starting line. So you can search those hotels. You can have your travel agent search those hotels and say, I want to stay no more than half a mile from Disneyland, and we'll find you those resorts that'll work for you, and you can just walk to the start. There are tons of Disney runners out in the morning walking to the race. I have done it with people. I have done it by myself. Never felt uncomfortable walking at 3 a.m. to the race, because you were just surrounded by thousands of other people doing the same thing. Now, I know I've been kind of pumping the good neighbor hotels. Staying at a Disneyland resort hotel can be a whole lot of fun, and you can still walk to start lines. So if that's what you want, do not let me discourage you from that. There is a special magic with those Disneyland resort hotels. Just know you are not limited to them. You've got a lot of options in Disneyland. And staying within walking distance of the starting line is a game changer. Trust me, after those early morning wake-ups, every minute of sleep is going to matter to you. And knowing all these little details will make those early mornings so much easier and help keep you focused on just running your race and having fun. Okay, guys, so that is my episode 2, Racecation Training and Planning Approach. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Tell me what kind of trainings do you prefer? What kind of schedule are you looking for? Do you like having something strict so you'll stick with it? Or is a little bit of flexibility in your schedule better for you? Also, let me know if you're training for any Run Disney race right now, or really any race, anywhere, any challenge anywhere. Drop me a comment and let me know what you are working toward. And remember, if you ever need assistance planning your racecation or regular travel, I would love to help. My services as a travel agent are totally free to you 100% of the time. My commissions are paid for directly by Disney, and it's baked into that package price. Whether you use a travel agent or not, it's being paid for by Disney. The only difference is that if you don't use a travel professional, Disney just keeps that commission. And when you do, you're helping out a small business like me. Another benefit of using a travel agent is that you can have someone that's going to make sure to get the best resort fit for you, get you your park tickets, and retroactively apply any discounts that Disney might release between the time that you book and when you travel, possibly saving you money. Often, as it gets closer to an event, weekend, or any travel, if Disney has unbooked hotels, they will drop great discounts, 20%, 30% off of your stay, or they will have times where kids tickets are free, or a dining plan is free, or something is added in extra because they're trying to to fill up those hotels. And if you've booked on your own, they're not going to advertise to you that that's happening. Your travel agent will be able to retroactively go in and just apply it. You'll save that money. You don't even have to think about it. So really, you've got nothing to lose, and a lot to gain, or at least hopefully some money and someone that can answer questions for you along the way. More so in Disney World, because that's kind of a complicated system to navigate. And there are a lot of details, a lot of rules, a lot of things with the apps and the lightning lanes and this. And it's nice to have someone who can give you that information, who knows, who's been there. And I would love to help make your trip as magical and stress-free as possible. If not myself, we have, if you connect with someone else, we have wonderful travel agents at the company, Magical Travel. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, follow along with my running journey. Next week, I'm going to be sharing my favorite Run Disney gear and how it helps me train a bit smarter. Thank you for watching, friends. Until next time, keep running, keep dreaming, and I'll see you real soon at the castle. All right. Thanks, friends.